wasn't even full throttle. That was about 75% throttle. I just, with it being a little chilly today, I just frankly don't have the confidence to go full throttle in this car. It's just too much power. Hello everyone, my name is Adam Ferragalli and welcome to Driven Nashville. We do our absolute best to source some really cool and special enthusiast cars for you all, for your entertainment. And today we have a 2021 Mustang Shelby GT500. This is the newest, latest and greatest, coolest car that Ford makes, in my personal opinion. This is a fantastic track package edition, which I'm gonna go through the car here and tell you what the hell that means. Now, we did have the pleasure of reviewing a GT350R Heritage Edition, which had the Tremec 6-speed transmission. It had the 5.2 liter Voodoo engine. This particular car has a supercharged 2.5 liter Eaton supercharger on it. It makes 760 horsepower. Just let me say that again, 760 horsepower. What is going on? And it makes 630 foot-pounds of torque. It's unbelievable. Has a Tremec 7-speed dual clutch transmission, which actually works pretty damn good. I'm gonna give you a real good point of view drive today, so you guys can experience the car. It's so loud, so unbelievably loud with these quad pipes on it. Like the new restyled hood. Check this out. This is a very, very cool detail. And then you do have the old school kind of pins. You have to push both of these down to unlatch the hood. Look at these wheels. Let me see if I can get the light here. We're out here. I had to wait till it warmed up today because frankly, it's been chilly today. And these are our compound tires. These are Michelin Sport Cup 2 tires, 305 fronts, but check out the carbon wheels. Check out these massive Brembo brakes they come with. Now this is an $18,500 package, right? Which gets you the carbon wheels. Just look at these. Now the rear tires are absolutely massive. 315s, 3020s. Massive, big old fat rubber back there. And let me tell you, you need that. When you get this car going, God, it's something to drive. You're gonna experience it with me in just a minute. Check out the massive carbon fiber wing that's part of the track package. Now, in additional things to the track package, you also get these very, very nice Recaro racing seats. Some of the best looking seats in the absolute business. I flippin' love them. They're so comfortable. They're unlike the Porsche carbon buckets. They don't kill you to get in and out of them. They hold you really well. They look good. You can throw your racing seat belts right here. Outside of the carbon buckets, you know, you have the Alcantara, you have this is the number 764 GT500 produced, but really similar to the 350R, there's not that many frills in here. You can see here, you've got the carbon fiber trim, you've got a little bit of a leather stitching here, but bottom line, it still kind of is a Mustang, and you could say that's a negative. You know, this is all kind of that inexpensive soft plastic. You do have one stitch line here, a little leather here, but it does come at around $95,000 from the factory. I'll go ahead and put the window sticker here on the screen for you so you can check that out. This car is for sale at Direct Auto of Tennessee. Now, like the 350R, none of these were going for MSRP. It just is what it is. This car is a golden ticket. If you are fortunate enough to get it, you probably paid no less than $5,000, maybe $10,000 over MSRP. Okay, so you come over here and you push this one down, you push this one down, that pops this up, and then right here you have your latch. Now, one thing I will note, this is not carbon fiber. This is, I believe, a piece of aluminum. It's pretty heavy. Now, check out the engine in this sucker. Like the 350R, Brian here was able to etch in the metal. Isn't that cool? You do have the 2.5 liter Eaton supercharger on here. I love how they don't put a lot of plastic in the engine. With the track package, you know, you get all this as exposed carbon fiber here. So it's carbon fiber composite, says it right there. You have the strut bar going across. It's also, I believe, in carbon fiber. Look, this is why you buy this car. It's for this incredible, powerful, exotic engine. They call this engine the Predator. Okay, so they went through the Coyote to the Voodoo, and now this is called the Predator. 760 horsepower, guys, 760. And let me tell you, it is an animal, an absolute animal. Take or leave the front styling. You can see here, all of this is just really radiators and air intakes to cool this massive engine. I don't know, I personally like the 350R's front better, but there's nothing wrong with this car. A couple of things I don't like. You can see here, this right is fake. This is not actually going to cool the wheels or the brakes. It just is what it is. I also found interesting is you could see here with the these side track, you know, this is not carbon fiber. So, you know, you pay $18,500 for the track package, and there's just a couple of details that this car doesn't have. Same thing down here with the rear diffuser, right? Rear diffuser, excuse me. This is all plastic. It's not carbon fiber. So again, they're trying to keep the price down, and you know, it is what it is. Now, a couple of other things I'll mention with this specific spec here. You do pay $1,000 for the stripes here. And then this also has the technology package, which gives you the B&O sound system, which really, really does sound good. All right, sitting in the car, pretty darn easy to get into. It does have a high side sill right here, like most sports cars you're gonna drive. You know, be mindful of that. The steering wheel feels great. I love the Alcantara. To start the car, you put your foot on the brake. There is no clutch, unfortunately. And you go over here and you push start. Now it starts up in normal mode, which is still very, very loud, let me tell you. Now let me go ahead, shut the door here, turn off this. You go over here to your exhaust mode, and you want to go ahead and make this thing sport. You can hear the supercharger. And then you go over here to track. I'm telling you, that is the loudest sounding stock car I've ever heard. Everybody in this park is now staring at me like I'm a lunatic. Now, a couple of other things to notice. You have your oil temp, you have your oil pressure. You can go ahead and set you know, your boost gauge here on the middle TFT display. You have your touch forward sync system here. It works very, very well. Ton of different controls on the steering wheel. Navigation, phone, right? You have your steering feeling. You can have normal, you can have sport, you can have comfort. That is very similar to the 350R. I will say one thing about fuel economy. I had about, I don't know, a little more than a quarter tank of gas in this thing, and it was saying I had a 60-mile range. So I went to the gas tank. I went to the gas station and I put 5 gallons in it, and that should hopefully get me about 50 to 60 miles. This thing is getting roughly 12 miles to the gallon around the city. You can see here the little detail about the B&O sound system, which is nice. It's all integrated. You don't have any exposed like aluminum speakers here, which would have been a nice touch, but you know, it is a Mustang. And this is one of the negatives I don't like. These look fine, you know, these paddles, but they're kind of like they feel cheap. I mean, they're not metal at all. They're not carbon fiber. I'm really surprised that, you know, this is one of the things you're integrating with the car more than most, because you don't have, you know, like with the PDKs, right? You can't bang gears here. So this is how, if you want to control the car, you know, you're going to be operating it, and they just feel like cheap plastic. That's a big negative to me. If you want to put the car in gear, it's also really unusual. Like, you know, you hold the foot on the brake, and then that's reverse, that's neutral, that's drive, manual you push. If you want to put the parking brake on, that's it. So it's just, you know, different. You know, there's no gear level here. There's nothing here. You know, it's fine. It's easy to get used to, but I really wish you had something here that you can drive, just somewhat simulate, you know, the manual shift. I think if this car was 760 horsepower, had a 6-speed or even a 7-speed manual transmission, it would be a winner. I would probably tell the dealer I'm walking home with this car. But don't get me wrong, if you want speed, this is it. You know, Ford says this thing goes to 60 in 3.3 seconds. Probably will easily do 200 miles an hour if you can find the road to do it. You know, I mean, it's got more power than you need. I mean, that's just a fact. So I don't know about you guys. Enough talking about it. Let's take it for a spin. Oh, one other thing I did want to mention with the track package here, you do have the rear seats deleted. So if you want to throw any kids back there, do not get the $18,500 track package. You know, one thing I forgot to mention real quick before we get into the drive is this is your rear trunk. You can see here you have, I believe this is a subwoofer. And you have a pretty good sized trunk back here. So from that point of view, you know, it is a practical vehicle. You could easily take this on a nice trip with your wife, if she could stand the sound of it. I think my wife might be this is a little too ostentatious even for her. I'd have to keep it in normal mode. I'm telling you, let's go for a drive because you guys got to hear this thing on the road. It sounds absolutely hilarious. All right, let's go for a drive, shall we? Let's go ahead and put it in, we'll keep it in just regular mode for right now, but I do want to have it in track exhaust. So it's got a dual clutch transmission. I will say it's interesting because it does not initially creep when you take your foot off the brake, but God, I tell you what, this car's got so much power. It'll spin the tires on just literally a blip of the throttle. You really gotta be a good driver. You gotta be mature, you know, when you drive this car. Otherwise, you're probably gonna kill yourself. It just is what it is. You can hear the R compound tires probably. They're picking up a lot of the dirt and debris that's in the road right now. So I'm gonna just gingerly take it out of this park here. It's roughly 60-65 degrees. Now, this is the warmest part of the day, so this is why I'm reviewing the car in the afternoon, because the whole morning it was under 50 degrees. And with our compound tires, you know, to be honest with you, you're kind of rolling the dice taking a car like this out with you know, track tires when it's chilly, because they have virtually no traction, and it doesn't give you a sense of confidence. You know, you don't feel it through the steering wheel, and it feels like the tires are just gonna crack every time you go over a little bump and whatnot. So today we're okay now. It's warmed up enough, so this should be a pretty good drive, and I'm quite excited to show you. Now you can see here that the car, you know, with it in the normal mode, which is the mode we're in currently, it's easy to drive. You know, it is just an automatic transmission, so you know, it'll lug very easily. It shifts butter smooth. I mean, Ford really nailed, you know, Tremec really nailed the 7-speed dual clutch in this car. It's never really temperamental. If you do give it, you know, a little bit of gas, it does downshift pretty darn good and pretty easily. I am hearing a little bit of audible rattling, but not that bad. You know, you hear a little bit in the door, a little bit up there somewhere, but overall it's pretty well built, it feels like. Now let me go ahead and adjust the steering to sport. So I gotta say, in sport steering, it's drastically heavier, and it feels, you know, there's virtually no give. There's maybe a millimeter or two, but probably not even two. I mean, just literally a little millimeter of travel. Oh, God, I gotta say, you know, that engine, flipping Christ. You can hear it. You can hear that supercharger. It's loud. All right, I'm just gonna leave it in automatic mode for a little bit. We're heading out to, you know, one of my favorite roads in Clarksville, and then we'll go ahead and put it in manual mode for you so you can experience the car and get a good feel for it. You know, we'll try to do a half a run out. What I mean by that is there's just no way I'm gonna really get anywhere near the limits of this vehicle. Not today anyways. Just too chilly out. But you can get a good idea of how it performs. I gotta say, the suspension is in normal mode right now, and it still feels pretty damn sporty. There's just no doubt about it. You are driving a sports car. It's not nearly as uncomfortable as the Camaro ZL1 that we reviewed and we had for a good year and a half as a personal vehicle. I still personally think the ZL1 is still a better car. Dollar for dollar, it's cheaper. You get a 6-speed, you get a 650 horsepower supercharged engine. Really, I don't know if you're gonna feel a difference between 650 and 760. It's both gonna throw you in jail way before you you know, get to the top of the RPMs, you know, because I don't care what gear you're in, if you're gonna full throttle those cars, you're breaking the speed limit significantly. I mean, look at that right there. I gave it just a little tiny tap, a freaking tap, and I'm doing 60, you know? That's just modern cars today, right? A lot of it's just bragging rights. If you're a real driver, you're really gonna have to take this car to the track. That's just the bottom line. And you know, on a nice road like this, on a beautiful day, I mean, yeah, you can have fun, but you really just can't push that throttle that much. You know, you don't want to endanger your life. You don't want to endanger anybody else's life either. So, you know, that's just the reality of these modern cars. Now, you can see there, it downshifts really, really good in automatic mode. That's about 50% throttle right there. You know, I mean, I'm telling you, it's one giant act of restraint driving this car. Now, I will say the brakes, you know, they're not carbon ceramics or anything, they're steels, but they're fantastic. They really, really work great. They're very, very bitey. God, the amount of torque that this car has, it is unbelievable. Oh, I tell you what, you know, it's got the Mustang characteristics, so when you give it the beans and then you take your foot off the gas, you know, it has a little shimmy. It's a lot of weight in the front, but overall it still does feel pretty darn balanced. God, you feel it moving, man. I'm telling you, you give it just half throttle, that's all it takes, and that back end starts getting a little loose with you. I love the sound of the supercharger though. God, it sounds so good. You hear it just a little bit, you know, you give it just a little bit of fuel and you hear the wah. You know, it's no Whipple supercharger, but damn, it sounds good nonetheless. It really does. This is a fun car. It really is. I gotta say, you know, with that big hood scoop right here, it just feels so damn exotic. It really, really does, guys. I mean, you know you're driving something special. You're not gonna get into this car and be like, oh, it's just a Mustang. No, 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 no. When you hit this fuel, when you hear the sound, you know, you put it in sports steering like I am right now. I mean, I'm not even paddle shifting it and I'm enjoying the shit out of it. I mean, look at this. That's only 3,000 RPMs. I can go all the way to almost 7,500. I mean, get out of here. The amount of power this car has is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I just reviewed a Ferrari F8, okay? That thing had 600 plus horsepower, and I'm telling you, this car feels like a whole nother level of just get up and go. Sport mode, okay? Hopefully that gives me a little bit of traction control. All right, so I gotta say, you know, it isn't a manual, but the dual clutch transmission is really, really good in this car. God damn, this car. This car will run out of road real fast. You really gotta watch it. Boy, I tell you though, the upshifts are effortless. The downshifts are effortless. Boy, oh boy, this car. Good lordy. You know, you do find yourself short shifting the car, right? Because it just has so much power that you're kind of nervous to just run it out. Boy, I tell you, I don't think I've gotten over 5,000 RPMs here. I tell you, even though, you know, you might be going 60 miles an hour, it's still, you know, with the cold temperatures here, it's still begging for traction, right? Well, there you go. I mean, it's an experience, no doubt about it. It's got more power than you could ever use. I will say, when you're going pretty fast in this car too, you know, you really do feel the downforce that's generated by the track package. Yeah, it doesn't really like that shift from 5th to 6th, so, you know, it is tuned pretty good to run out. Similar to that last Voodoo engine I reviewed. Doesn't quite go as high, but That was about 80% throttle right there. I was finally felt like I had enough heat in the tires to really give it the beans, you know? Woo, 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 this car. Yeah, it's a GT500, guys. No doubt about it. It's a lot of fun. It's very, very fast. It's very loud. It's very visceral. Boy, I tell you, I love these brakes. They're so good. You got to have amazing brakes, you know, when you have a car with this much power and rear-wheel drive, you know, just in case. And these brakes, they definitely are going to hold up to the performance. I mean, look at that. Even though you're not very high in the rev band, you know, it's got 630 foot-pounds of torque, so it doesn't really matter. You got all the power in the world from just the immediate throttle response. You know, there's no turbochargers, right? That supercharger gives you instant power and just says, let's go, you know, let's have some fun. I'm ready. Oh, God. Man, oh man, oh man. Woo! I mean, it's just, I keep thinking of the word prodigious, you know, prodigious amounts of power. I mean, I hope the engine, the supercharger, the exhaust, you know, I hope this comes through just a little bit on camera, because it's a real shame if it doesn't, you know. I mean, guys, that is 3,500 RPMs, right? And I could go all the way to 7. I mean, it's just so much flipping power. You're just really never gonna get up there. And frankly, the tires are still cool, although I'm starting to warm up now. I can feel the back ones really starting to stick, which is nice. You know, it's very easy to drive very fast. You know, it's not, you're not going to immediately get into this vehicle and just want to go crazy, right? Similar to the 350R, you know, it takes a little bit of getting used to. It's a lot of performance, the way the weighting of the car feels. But once you get a little bit of, you know, comfort with her, yeah, I mean, it's a fun car. You're gonna enjoy it, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Boy, you can really feel, you know, the aero on this vehicle. God, I love these back roads. There's very few people out here in this particular part of Clarksville, which is nice. That's why we come out here. Anyway, so I get the whole point of doing the dual clutch, you know, faster 60 times, faster 0 to 100 times, etc. But it's just not as fun to do that. I would just frankly rather be shifting, you know. It'd be a lot more entertaining. And yeah, don't get me wrong, they might have to build some more safety features in, you know, because frankly, that's a lot of power to put through a little clutch. You know, very easy to make the car go sideways. You know, I know there's a lot of technology right now that's saving my ass, you know, putting the power down so that I don't, you know, lose the rear end, which is nice. Although I have to say the traction control so far hasn't really been that, I don't know, obtrusive, I guess. You know, it really hasn't cut power. Now, I am driving it where I'm putting very linear throttle response, right? You know, it's one thing about this car, you know, and a lot of these muscle cars, you know, they have so much power. And if you do just get in it and just literally mash the gas, right? that's when you're gonna end up in a tree. You know, you really gotta watch it. Well, I tell you though, coming through these turns, you know, similar to the GT350R, you know, this car doesn't just go fast in a straight line. It goes fast in turns. It is a performance car. Boy, I tell you though, God, this engine, it is fantastic. Want to thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the point of view drive we just had. We're back over here at Direct Auto of Tennessee here. This is their dealership. They have a ton of cars in inventory all the time. Got a ton of awesome Porsches in there. They're one of the top Porsche dealers, I'd say, in the region. So let me sum up this car. Absolutely prodigious, unbelievable, insane amounts of torque and power, right? 760 horsepower is nothing to, I mean, you really just can't get in this car and just go for it, right? You gotta let the tires warm up. The conditions do have to be, you know, appropriate, so to speak. Today, with it being roughly 60 degrees right now, we had to take it a little bit easier, even though you all might think I didn't take it that easy. But frankly, I don't think I got over 6,000 RPMs. I think I might have gotten into 5,000 RPM range once or twice. I do love the way the car feels. It feels exotic, it's loud, it's visceral. I love the seats. I really think the Tremec 7-speed transmission is fantastic. It shifts really fast. It's got a lot of performance. It really does help put the power down. I love the body kit and the styling of the GT500. I think it looks great. I think it looks really good in this carbonized gray paint. It's sparkling so nice right here. I love the new hood styling. I think the track pack is an absolute must. You know, carbon wheels really reduce the unsprung weight of the car. Not only do they help there, but they also just look fantastic. I mean, they're so exotic looking. I just really like the way those wheels turned out. They look awesome. You know, you do have a very practical rear. So overall, I think it's a fantastic car. My only negative is, why didn't they offer a 7-speed manual or a 6-speed manual? That's my only thing. Fantastic car. I hope you all enjoyed the review. We're gonna conclude here with a drone flyaway like we tend to do. And we're gonna call this one a day. Thanks again for watching. Please subscribe, send this to any friends that you think might enjoy the content. And as always, thank you for watching for those who made it this far into the video. I will talk to you on the next one. We'll see you later.